This next person that I'm getting ready to talk to, a young man named Austin Blevins. How are you doing, Austin?
Good.
Good. And you brought your whole family and your doctor with you. It's really cool. Now, Austin, you have a very interesting story, mainly because of Mom, how you ended up from coming from Worthington, Ohio, up near Columbus, to All Children's Hospital here in St. Petersburg. Tell me a little bit of background. And Austin, you and Mom and Dad and Dalton, little brother back there in the corner. You guys tell me the whole story, how this whole thing came about. Now, Austin has had a bowel obstruction surgery.
Correct.
Okay, now tell me how that was diagnosed in Columbus and how you ended up at All Children's in St. Pete, Florida.
Last year, April 16th, 2014, he had surgery up in Ohio for a bowel obstruction, and they unfortunately ruptured the bowel. They had some complications during surgery that we've never had to deal with before, and he had to be washed out and left open a week, and it almost killed him. But, he's the toughest guy that I know.
I can tell.
Yeah, he's quiet. He's a man of few words, but he's the toughest guy that I know. And he pulled through, and there really wasn't anybody left. The head of surgery there took another job out west. And
The surgeon that was in Columbus.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Because the two surgeons that initially had worked on him, I kicked them off the case.
You're fired.
Yeah, so I got the head of surgery to take over, and he did a really good job with what he had to pick up. But they were unable to close the fistulas and finish off what had started. So I started looking for surgeons that could help him.
And how did you go about looking for a surgeon that can help your son?
Well, I just looked up the specialties of what we were looking for.
Did you Google it, I guess?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty much, okay.
And I looked up different hospitals, and I had been coming down to Florida since I was little. And my father had passed away, unfortunately, during the time he was in the hospital. He was in for 9 months straight. So, unfortunately, that occurred, and my mom was moving down here to Florida full time. And I thought, well, I'm going to look in Florida too. And I happened to come across this fella, Dr. Colombani's resume, and heard some great things about him. I called some people and heard even better things about him. And, he just worked on one of our presidents. I said, well,
No big deal.
if you can work on a president, you might be able to touch my family. That's a pretty decent qualification.
Decent resume you got going over there, Doc, from what I'm hearing. Another man of few
Another
words.
man of few words, right. I told him I was going to brag on him. I forewarned him of this. He has done a great job. It's the smartest, best thing we did as a family, because when one person goes through something this traumatic, it's not just that person that goes through it, it's the whole family.
Yeah.
So, little brother was a traveling baseball star, and he kind of had to give that up to come down here. And so
I don't know if you met Kevin Cash when he was in here earlier. He probably get you signed up on something. Oh, you missed it? No. Bummer.
day late and dollar short.
And it's the story of my life.
Yeah.
Now we get to talk to a lot of different families, and we get to talk with patients, and we get to talk with little brothers and sisters. But not very often do we get to talk to one of the doctors that actually has worked on one of the patients we do. But it sounds like this is a pretty special one. Dr. Colombani, tell me a little bit about what you inherited with Austin and how you're gotten him back to the big, strong, tough guy that he is now.
Well, Austin is
There we go. It's on. Yeah.
yeah. So Austin was born with an anomaly where the abdominal wall didn't form properly, and so basically the kids are left with a very big gap, and where the muscle is separated very widely. And 50 years ago, that was probably a lethal problem that very few children would survive. But over the last 50 years, we've been able to come up with different operations and ways to recreate, get the abdominal wall closed and get the intestines protected and all that. And many times it takes 5, 6, 10 operations to do it. And so Austin's last operation in Ohio left him with 2 very large output openings in his intestine that were just draining and prevented him really from eating and really doing anything. So for us, we have to surgically fix that, and so that was the goal of this operation that we did recently. And he still has other, there are other things that we need to do down the road, and we need to get the muscle repositioned on his abdomen, and there's other operations that we're looking down the road that we need to do to get him completely fixed. And so, and that's our job, is to do that.
As your doctor, how's he doing? How's he doing right now?
He's doing great. He still has some wound issues that we need to get closed, and then once we can get that done, then we can let him eat, and then think about what we need to do down the road.
Bet you're looking forward to that point, Austin, aren't you? Are you not?
Very much.
The whole eating thing.
What's the first thing you want?
Chinese food.
Really? I was expecting pizza, cheeseburger, Taco Bell, something. Chinese food. What's your favorite Chinese food?
Yeah, Japanese steakhouse.
Oh, nice. Crab rangoon. That is Chinese, isn't it?
He loves the chicken fried rice
Yeah.
and the sauces they have and the
Yeah.
hibachi grills when they cook in front of you. And
That's fun.
yeah.
That's really, really cool. I bet you're looking forward to that day, going out and whole family and flipping the knives around and all that stuff. That's awesome. So, Austin, have you, through your whole life, has he had this whole thing his whole life, or did this develop?
He's kind of, when everything's good, he's a ticking time bomb. Because of the surgeries, anyone who has abdominal surgery runs the risk of scar tissue latching onto the bowel. Scar tissue's sticky, so it latches onto the bowel and eventually squeezes it shut, so you can't use the restroom. It's very painful. And he always knows when it happens, but you never know. It could be a year, 5 years. He happens to make a lot of scar tissue, more than most people, so he's kind of a ticking time bomb in that way. So, I mean, that's why, one of the reasons why we're relocating here, not just down for a visit. Where this guy's at, we're going to be.
Dr. Colombani,
That's
you're
right.
speaking of. Now, it's as he's recovering, this is something that sometimes I forget to ask people about. You guys have spent a lot of time at the Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That's been amazing. It's like home away from home.
I've heard.
There are volunteers that come in, bless their hearts, that cook for us. And, I mean, they feed us really well. And that's one of the things that when families are under a lot of stress, you don't want to eat.
Yeah.
But
you have to.
You have to, and there's people there that make the best food, and you smell that food cooking, and you're like, okay, now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So you might not necessarily take the time to do it, but bless those people that come and do that for us.
That is so awesome. Mom, if you could tell the people that are listening one really good reason why they should call up the phone number, become a monthly miracle maker, what would it be?
One really good reason.
Or 5.
That's a great question. Well, the Ronald McDonald House, it enabled our family to be together and be right across the street from Austin instead of an hour away.
That's key.
Yeah, and right now, even though he's outpatient currently, we're still 4 out of 5 days coming for doctor's
Sure.
appointments. So it's having a great surgeon, exactly. Dad, why don't you chime in here?
Dad's in the background going, hey, talk about this and talk
Yeah,
about this.
Talk
Here's a
about, talk about the doctor. That's right. Say something. Okay.
You like to surround yourself with men that don't talk a lot.
I do. That might be saying something. I don't know.
The family spokesperson is obviously going to be Mom.
Yeah. Well, my youngest Dalton is a little mini-me, so
That's awesome.
He's a ham and a half, but
Every family needs one.
that's right.
All right.
He's my mother's curse come to life, right? I hope
Exactly.
you have one just like you.
Just like me, yes.
Yeah.
Austin, thank you so much for taking the time to come by and say hey to us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I hope you get the Chinese food ASAP, my friend.
Well, thanks to Dr. Colombani, That
Yeah.
is on the horizon.
Excellent.
And without him, it wouldn't be. So, I mean, that's the biggest miracle in itself right there.
Big time. Tom, Jennifer, Dalton, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Columbani, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come down and talk to us also.
Yes, thank you, sir.
We appreciate it. 1-800-270-8642. Call up.